Was a king's death really worth a kingdom's ruin? Could a love affair truly rewrite history? The rain in Suffolk that autumn of 1321 tasted of iron and desperation. Not the sweet, earthy scent of harvest, but something sharp, metallic, the tang of impending violence. Abbot Neath, a man whose face seemed permanently etched with disapproval, wasn't delivering a sermon, he was delivering a death sentence. A terse refusal, colder than the November wind, slammed against the embassy returning from France. Surrender and surrender completely. No bargaining. Just the stark, brutal truth echoing from the king's envoy Roger Mortimer, a man already steeped in shadows and simmering resentment. January 1322. A month later, a different kind of storm was brewing. Rhys ap Howell's contingent, a snarling pack of men at arms, spotted Edward, Baldock, and Despenser, a trio of royal misfits huddled in the bleak countryside near Neath. A brief, furious chase and then capture. Lancaster, a man with a smile as sharp as a newly honed blade, hauled the king himself to Kenilworth. The air crackled with a dangerous energy, a palpable shift in the balance of power. But the real drama wasn't unfolding in the castle walls. It was playing out in the shadowed chambers of Hugh Despenser's mind. He knew mercy was a forgotten word. Anticipating Roger's wrath, a lifetime's worth of grievances, he chose a different path, a slow, agonizing descent into oblivion. Even as Henry de Leybourne and Robert Stangrave dragged him towards Hereford, Roger was meticulously crafting his revenge. November 17th. The Earl of Arundel, a man known for his unwavering loyalty to Gaveston, a loyalty that had earned him a lifetime of enemies, and two of his associates, John Daniel and Thomas de Micheldever, met their end. Murimuth, a chronicler with a penchant for dramatic detail, described it as a perfect hatred, a visceral, consuming rage. Arundel had been a thorn in Roger's side since the tournament at Wallingford, a constant reminder of his past defiance. He'd armed himself against Roger's uncle, fueled the rebellion against him during the Despenser War, and even pilfered lands belonging to Roger himself. The embassy that had persuaded Roger to surrender at Shrewsbury. It was Arundel's doing, a carefully orchestrated lie designed to seal his fate. The main course was, undeniably, Hugh Despenser. A tribunal, resurrected from the ashes of the elder Despenser's trial, meticulously documented his crimes. Lancaster, Kent, and Norfolk, a formidable trio, and Thomas Wake and William Trussell drafted a list so exhaustive, so unforgiving, it seemed designed to strip Despenser of every shred of dignity. The sentence, however, remained a point of contention. Lancaster envisioned a swift, brutal execution in Despenser's own castle, mirroring the tragic demise of Lancaster himself in 1322. Roger, consumed by a desire for retribution, demanded a spectacle, a dismemberment, an evisceration, a public display of horror that would serve as a chilling warning to any future dissenters. Isabella, the Queen, a woman known for her decisive nature, sided with Roger, believing that a swift, gruesome end was the only language Despenser understood. November 24th, Hereford transformed into a macabre stage. A colossal crowd armed with trumpets and drums gathered, their faces alight with a primal hunger for vengeance. As the prisoners approached the city, they were adorned with crowns of nettles, a grotesque symbol of their impending suffering, and their surcoats bore reversed coats of arms, a final act of humiliation. The crowd surged forward, dragging Despenser from his horse, stripping him naked, and inscribing biblical verses denouncing his arrogance and wickedness upon his skin. He was paraded through the market square, Simon de Reading, his loyal vassal and a man known for his audacious insults against the Queen, forced to march ahead, bearing his standard with its arms reversed. The scene in the market square was a nightmare made real. Sir William Trussell, his voice dripping with righteous fury, recited the charges: treason, robbery, conspiracy against the peers of the realm, aiding in the murder of Hereford, and countless other offenses. Despenser was declared a traitor, a thief, a renegade, a tyrant, but the true horror was yet to come. The sentence, meticulously crafted by Roger and his associates, was a masterpiece of cruelty. He would be hanged, drawn, and quartered, and his body would be displayed as a warning throughout the kingdom. And to add a final, agonizing touch, he would be disemboweled, his entrails roasted over a fire. Baldock, a clergyman caught in the crossfire, met a similar fate, albeit unofficially. The mob descended upon his house, beating him mercilessly before casting him into Newgate Prison, where he succumbed to his injuries. The victory celebrations were short-lived. Roger and Isabella, once lovers in exile, were now bound together by a shared ambition and a desperate need to consolidate their power. The king, imprisoned in Kenilworth, was a constant reminder of the precariousness of their position. The Lancastrians, led by Henry of Lancaster, were a simmering threat, their loyalty shattered by Edward's betrayal. The Hainault army, a mercenary force loathed by many in England, remained a contentious issue. And looming large over everything was the question of the king's fate. Would he be tried for treason, or simply allowed to live out his days in confinement? The decision was made to imprison him for life, a calculated gamble designed to appease the lords while maintaining a semblance of royal authority. But this decision only served to create new problems. Parliament, unable to convene due to the king's absence, dissolved, leaving a power vacuum that threatened to unravel the fragile stability of the realm. Then, almost as if summoned by the chaos, Joan appeared. The details of their reunion are shrouded in mystery. Perhaps it occurred in November 1326, amidst the carnage and the celebrations. Or perhaps it was later, as Roger retreated to his estates in the north, seeking solace in the familiar landscapes of his youth. Whatever the circumstances, the meeting was undoubtedly fraught with unspoken emotions, regret, sorrow, and perhaps a flicker of lingering affection. Roger's journey had taken him far from the fields of Pembridge, where he and Joan had pledged their troth. He had become a key player in the court of Isabella of France, a trusted advisor, a powerful diplomat. Joan, on the other hand, had endured years of imprisonment, bearing the burden of countless children and the weight of a shattered life. As the years passed, the couple drifted apart. Roger's ambitions eclipsed his affections, his loyalty to Isabella deepened, and the memory of their shared past faded into a distant dream. Evidence suggests that by early 1327 they had effectively separated, a painful consequence of Isabella's growing affection for Roger and his relentless pursuit of power. The records reveal a subtle shift in Joan's life. In January 1327, Roger procured several romances for her, a testament to his continued affection and a small attempt to bridge the widening gap between them. These books, delivered by Walter de Lingainy and Walter de Evesham, were a tangible reminder of their shared history, a fragile link to a life that was rapidly slipping away. But even these tokens of affection couldn't stem the tide of change. Joan's possessions, meticulously documented in 1322, now revealed a different picture, a woman increasingly isolated, her life consumed by the demands of her family and the uncertainties of her future. The chantry at Lantverdene, established in 1327, offered a glimpse into her later years, a quiet retreat dedicated to the memory of her husband's family and friends. The final chapter of Joan's life unfolded in Ludlow, where she spent her remaining years, a shadow of her former self, surrounded by the remnants of a shattered past. Roger, meanwhile, continued his ascent, becoming a central figure in Isabella's court, a trusted advisor, a powerful diplomat. As Christmas 1326 approached, Roger found himself facing a daunting array of challenges. He needed to legitimize Isabella's claim to the throne, to control the rebellious lords, to manage the volatile Hainault army, and most importantly, to decide the fate of the king. The decision was made to imprison Edward indefinitely, a calculated move designed to appease the lords while maintaining a semblance of royal authority. But this decision only served to create new problems. Parliament, unable to convene due to the king's absence, dissolved, leaving a power vacuum that threatened to unravel the fragile stability of the realm. The following year, 1327, saw a dramatic shift in the political landscape. The barons, emboldened by their recent victories and fueled by a growing sense of grievance, rose up in open rebellion. They demanded a new charter of liberties, one that would limit the power of the crown and guarantee their rights. Isabella, recognizing the gravity of the situation, summoned a council of barons to Northampton Castle. The negotiations were protracted and fraught with tension, but ultimately a compromise was reached. The Magna Carta, a document that would become a cornerstone of English law, was signed in June 1327, a testament to the barons' determination to curb royal power, but the rebellion was short-lived. Edward, aided by Roger and Isabella, quickly crushed the uprising, capturing and executing several of the rebel leaders. The threat of civil war receded, but the underlying tensions remained, simmering beneath the surface of the realm. Roger Mortimer, once a figure of darkness and intrigue, had become a key architect of Isabella's reign. He had played a pivotal role in securing her claim to the throne, in suppressing the rebellion, and in establishing a new order in England. But his victory had come at a terrible cost: the destruction of his family, the loss of his reputation, and the sacrifice of his own happiness. As Christmas 1326 drew to a close, Roger found himself standing at a crossroads, facing a future filled with uncertainty and danger. He had achieved his ambitions, but at a price he could scarcely have imagined. The reign in Suffolk that autumn of 1321 had tasted of iron and desperation. Now, as he prepared to spend the holiday season in the shadow of the king's prison, he realized that the taste of victory was often bitter indeed. And as the snow fell upon Kenilworth Castle, blanketing the scene in a pristine white, a single, haunting question lingered in the air: could a kingdom truly be built on a foundation of blood and betrayal?